With YouTube demonetizing independent media, please consider becoming a patron today for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the 3 Buck Theater, and it was a little over 2 years ago that we saw the first teaser trailer for Paul Feig's remake of Ghostbusters. And the movie was immediately hit with a large fan backlash. And I mean large. It was just interesting to watch the internet kind of come together in order to discuss how terrible this movie looked. And as time went on, and as we discovered more about the plot details because of the 2014 Sony hack that ultimately ended up really being the plot outline of the movie itself, as well as the director and the cast and the studio coming together to say, like, I'm sorry you don't like it from your mother's basement. And trying to deride any kind of criticism as being sexist and misogynistic. Never mind the fact that the movie had a really horrible plot line and was really, really, really bad. We then got to watch the movie. We got to watch it. It came out, right? I went to the early screening of the movie, the preview screening. I figured I talked a lot of crap about it. I owe it to the filmmakers to go and see it to make sure that that I was right in my assertions that it was garbage. And it turns out, my friends, it was worse than I could have possibly imagined. It was bad. I tried watching it again. I tried watching the extended cut again. Just to make sure I wasn't, like, wrong. No, I wasn't. I watched the Emoji Movie last night, and that was a better film. Apparently, I watched a lot of bad movies. But the point is, friends, it was garbage. It was garbage. It was garbage. And audiences worldwide agreed. The movie did not do what it needed, which was reportedly around $400 million in order to be considered a success. But that's not stopping Paul Feig from saying that he still wants to make a Ghostbusters sequel. And there was a collective no from, like, the internet yesterday, right? Now, it says here that director Paul Feig hopes, however, the studio changes its mind, as he said that he would definitely helm a sequel if he got the chance to. He explained that he had a lot of fun making the movie with leads Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones, and believes that 2016's Ghostbusters has developed something of a cult following, particularly from women, in the past couple years, saying, "We'd love to. It's really up to the studio to want to do it. We had so much fun making the movie. The movie's just really built an audience in the 2 years since it's been out. I get contacted every day by people who are such fans of it, and so many women who are inspired by seeing the movie, seeing women in science. I will go to my grave so proud of that movie and so proud of what the cast did in that film." And I'm glad, Paul, that you feel that way. I'm glad look, okay, to be fair, 100% fair, if women did watch this movie and decided that they wanted to get into science, technology, engineering, or mathematics and jump into some kind of STEM field, cool. I'm fine with that. I think that's good. That's good. You inspired somebody. That doesn't mean you made a good movie. It just means you made a movie that got people thinking about something else, or maybe a direction part of their life. But that's not coming at it from a narrative perspective or even a comedic perspective, because there was not much in the movie that was considered even remotely funny. A lot of people out there who have tried to defend this movie have really only kind of boiled it down to, like, one thing. And they really hide behind Kate McKinnon as Holtzman. They really hide behind her there. They make all the comments about her like, oh, well, Holtzman was at least good. I like Kate McKinnon, but at the same time, you can tell Paul Feig just put a camera in front of her and said, act. And she's like, what do you want me to do? He's like, I don't care, anything you want. I'll be over here adjusting my tie in the mirror for 20 minutes. Like, that's it. It's so improv that you could feel that it wasn't a tight ship. It was very loose in terms of going about it. Like, probably the script had just bullet points of what to hit. You know what I mean? But the thing is, the movie was bad. There's no other real way to describe it. The movie was pretty god-awful. And so, does Sony want to do a sequel? Well, like I said at the beginning of this video, it was rumored, I don't know for certain, but it was rumored that they needed $400 million worldwide in order to be able to get it. They never hit that. Then when the DVD came out, Paul Feig said, well, hey, listen, if you want to see a sequel, then I need all of the Holtzman fans out there to go and buy the movie. Okay, at that point, basically acknowledging that Holtzman was kind of the key takeaway from this film. One of the key things that really kind of made it big. Additionally, Chris Hemsworth's, the response to him in the movie is what led Thor Ragnarok down the path it went to in terms of comedy. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of a plus. That's the only plus I'll give Ghostbusters, is it got us Thor Ragnarok. How about that? I'll give it that. All right. I'll give him the credit on that particular front. But at the same time, I'm very curious to see whether or not, if a sequel is commissioned, because we know right now that Ivan Reitman is running Ghost Corps. And right now, Ivan Reitman is in control of the Ghostbusters franchise. I went to a Comic-Con panel last summer with him where he talked about the fact they are working on another live-action movie, they're working on another animated movie, and the fact that Ghostbusters, the video game from 2009, is no longer considered the third film. It's no longer considered canon, which means that they are probably working on a way to make a third movie. But at the same time, that same panel was for IDW, which does comics, and they were talking about their particular plot lines for the Ghostbusters comic books, and that they did the Ghostbusters Answer the Call comic, and then they were doing another comic that basically merged Ghostbusters 1984, or Ghostbusters Prime, with Ghostbusters 2016, and combining them by going through a portal and then having the two meet. In fact, actually, Holtzman opens the portal, they go back into an alternate New York with the Ghostbusters from 1984, and they end up training them on how to accurately and correctly fight and capture ghosts. And that might be the plot line of a second movie. At this point, that is the only realistic way that this particular franchise can go forward in a way that the fans are going to like. What they need to do is they need to eliminate Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, and especially Leslie Jones. Keep Kate McKinnon, because that's what fans liked about it. Have her open up the portal with a new group of people, go over to another dimension, meet up with Harold Ramis, or not Harold Ramis, but Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Ernie Hudson, although Bill Murray probably won't be in it, but those other two will. Maybe Andy Potts, maybe Rick Moranis, whatever. They'll learn to be a Ghostbuster, fight some kind of demon that's going to be, you know, crossing the dimensions or something, and then they go back into their world, and or maybe they keep it open, and that's kind of where Ghostbusters goes at the time. That's an idea. That's part of the comic, essentially. Well, I mean, I'm paraphrasing the demon part, I have no idea, but that's kind of what happens. That would be a way I think fans would maybe get on board, right? It would allow Sony to keep this franchise afloat that they've already invested a couple $100 million into, and it might give fans a reason to come back and give it another shot. But the thing is, for this to be a success, is they need to move away from identity politics. Paul Feig can be nowhere near this movie. Kate Dippold can be nowhere near the script. Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones, get them out of there. Right, and I'm a big Kristen Wiig fan as well, and I'm like, no, that wasn't for her. Rumor is she even hated being on the set anyway. So get him out of there, get rid of all that crap, and start over again. But find a way to bridge the two together, bring in new people that aren't going to sit there and badmouth the fans, aren't going to sit there and say that anyone who's critical of this movie just hates women from their mom's basement. As I like to reportedly joke, you know, or frequently joke, I made more money off of Ghostbusters than Ghostbusters did for Sony. Because the movie was so bad and they kept screwing up so much that it was constant content to talk about. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not against it happening again. I always like talking about a train wreck, and this is definitely a train wreck. But I'm also a legitimate fan of the franchise, and I'm legitimately wanting to see it go forward to a place where there can be an amicable resolution between new fans and old fans, and find a way to continue pushing this series forward if they are in fact able to do so. We don't need a Ghostbusters cinematic universe. We don't need Ghostbusters spin-offs in the television. We don't need all of these other things. What we need is to go back to what made the originals work and recreate that kind of magic, and not try to push stupid slapstick jokes and queef humor into a movie, because no one cared about that. No one. And I'll put it to you like this. Ghostbusters 2016 was so bad that my girlfriend, who's a huge Melissa McCarthy fan and Kristen Wiig fan, walked out of the theater with me, and the first thing she said was, "Can we get our money back?" And I guarantee you, the lack of money that movie made had a lot of people saying pretty much the exact same thing once it was over, because negative word of mouth can in fact kill a property. And it did this one. So if they are committed to rebooting it, they are committed to bringing it back, keep the people who made the last one entirely away from it. And that's at least a step in the right direction. But what do you guys have to think about this? Let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Theater. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, and check back often for more content from me. If you want to support the channel, the best way is to share the video around. Also, Patreon's a good way. Or if you just want to watch more content from me, and I hope you do, you can do so right now.